Hello and howdy, everyone. Here to talk about one of my favorite films from my collection, The Prophecy. I've been wanting to watch The Prophecy for a little while. I had an exchange with a friend talking about The Prophecy, and, well, it doesn't take much. As soon as I start to think about, like, one little scene, in this instance we were talking about Viggo Mortensen and his portrayal of Satan. And basically, as soon as I started replaying Viggo Mortensen's role in this film, I just had to watch it. You know, that's how it goes for me. One little thing, it just snowballs and then becomes an avalanche, and I just have to watch the movie. I'm going to give it a 7. I don't think there's any way I can't give it a 7. Perhaps as I grow older, it has a few diminishing returns, but I still really enjoy watching it. Christopher Walken is a personal hero, probably my favorite actor. He could do no wrong, really, in my eyes. He he always says yes. He doesn't really turn down movie scripts, so sure, he's made some bad movies, but I really think that even in a bad movie, he elevates it to something that's, not so bad. He's always interesting. He's always doing something. He always finds, levels and shades of characters that I don't think few can do. So I just, I think he's tremendous. I also saw this film, kind of at the right time in my life. It came out in 1995. I can't imagine it coming out so long ago. But it came out in 1995. I didn't see it in the theater, obviously. I saw it, soon after it came to Video Castle of Brookfield. And I rented it because Christopher Walken was, big on the cover, and I love Christopher Walken. So I watched the movie, and, I loved it. I watched it a lot. When I had it rented. I, may have watched it 2, maybe even 3 times in the time span that Video Castle let me keep the movie. Or that I had probably rented it again. I did that too. Whenever I liked a movie, I would take it back and just rent it, right away. So this will always have a special place in my heart. And obviously it's a really interesting story. That's what it's, got going for it. It's got a really interesting story. An interesting enough story to spawn 4 sequels. Yes, there are 5 Prophecy movies. I think only 3 star Walken. Maybe 4, but I'm pretty sure that only 3 do. Written and directed by Greg Spence. No, wait, did I get that right? Yes, Greg Spence. No, I'm reading the wrong run. This is also, it has Prophecy 2 on it. It's a little, Blu-ray double feature. As you can see, Miramax double feature. Maybe I'll watch Prophecy 2. I definitely don't have the, connection, even though I saw it as a freshman in college in my dorm room. I still don't have that connection with Prophecy 2 that I have with Prophecy. Okay, so let me read the written and directed by Gregory Wyden. Again, he didn't do much. Gregory Wyden's career isn't that big, but he created 2 substantial sagas, I suppose. One being The Prophecy. He's, made bank off of 5 movies for creating the characters and, being credited as the creator of The Prophecy. So, he's made, bank off of that. But even more so, and probably more, iconic, is he created The Highlander. He created The Highlander, wrote the first screenplay, did not direct Highlander, but wrote the first screenplay for Highlander, and was then credited and given creator credit for every Highlander product to follow. The countless sequels, the TV series that ran for like 10 years, anything to do with Highlander. Gregory Wyden, got money for that. So, I mean, really, if you create 2 film sagas like that, you don't need to do much. You can probably live a fantastic life, and your grandkids will probably live a fantastic life. So he hasn't done much. In fact, other than Prophecy and Highlander, I think he only wrote one other movie, and I'm pretty sure it was Backdraft, the Ron Howard film. So again, and as for directing, I think this is his only directorial effort. But still, man had some interesting ideas. He had a lot of interesting stories rolling around in his head, and he managed to get probably the two biggest ones out there, and made a lot of money for it. The Prophecy is about a second war in heaven. A priest who's lost his faith is given visions of a war in heaven. A dark soul is now on earth. A mortal soul is prophesied to lead other dark souls, to lead other souls to victory, and it depends on whose side is he on. And there is another warring faction in heaven. The angels that weren't cast out the first time with Lucifer are now, filing in behind Gabriel, the archangel, played by Christopher Walken. And now, they want, basically they're pissed at humans, and that God loves humans more than angels. Because before humans existed, angels were all he had, and God loved them most. Now God has humans, and the angels are jealous of humans, and they just want to destroy them. They want to overthrow heaven and to make things as, they once were. So they have to go to earth to capture this soul. There's good angels and bad angels. They, hide the soul in a young girl. The bad angels have to track her down. All the while, there is a cop, a detective who has lost his faith. We meet him, as he goes into the priesthood, where he is delivered his vision of the coming apocalypse. So we get to see Elias Koteas as the detective, try and hunt down both these mysterious men who keep turning up in his morgue, and the little girl, basically, and to complete his vision, his mission from God. That's in a nutshell what the movie's about. I think the cast is really outstanding. The cast is why the film will, stand the test of time for at least a little while, and certainly really made it popular in the time enough to make 4 sequels after it. When we got Christopher Walken, you've got the man front and center. He's not in every scene. This is an ensemble cast, an ensemble film. So he's not in every scene, but when he's on the screen, he owns it. And really, he's just Walken. What else do you have to say? Also, we have Elias Koteas, who will forever and always be Casey Jones to me from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film. Elias Koteas is great. I think they kind of get Elias Koteas. He hasn't been working a ton recently. I haven't seen him. I've seen him recently in something. I can't remember what it was. But I'm always happy to see him. I've always kind of associated him with, if you can't afford Robert De Niro, get it Elias Koteas. Or even Dan Hedaya. If you can't afford Dan Hedaya, get Elias Koteas. And maybe it's a little backwards now, because Dan Hedaya I haven't seen Dan Hedaya in a while. But Elias Koteas is great. The female lead here is Virginia Madsen. Again, we've got Oscar nominees all over the place. We've got Virginia Madsen. She's great in it. But she's always good. And maybe she doesn't have, the most to do here. But she's good. Other bit roles, I'm trying to remember his name right now. Okay. Eric Stoltz is in this. Eric Stoltz was Prince of the early 90s. He's in this for a little while. He has probably the trickiest role. He's very cheesy. There's a lot of cheese in the movie. And The second part of what got me to watch this was I recently watched Sharknado. And I thought, wow, what a bad, cheesy movie. And I still wanted to watch some cheese, but I wanted the quality to be a little bit more. I wanted, my mind to be a little bit more active. So I wanted to watch The Prophecy. And there's just a lot of cheese in here. This is kind of, it's not a great movie. But it means a lot to me. It's fun. It has something to say. It's an interesting story. So again, there's tremendous performances. So there's a lot here to be, savored. But it's, again, there's a lot of giggle to yourself, laugh moments, cheese, basically. It doesn't, go into kitsch, but it definitely loves its cheese. And Eric Stoltz, he walks that line more than anyone in this film. But he's got some tricky stuff to do. In a way, it feels kind of weird, but he has to kiss a very young girl. I mean, maybe she's 10 years old, and he's got to just give a full lip lock, which is weird. I wonder if they could even do that today, or if they would, if there would be a scandal even before it gets made. Who else? God, I can't remember his name. Oh, I can't remember his name for the life of me. But he plays like the first zombie that is walking around with Walken in this film. Oh, I can't remember it. I believe it's Adam Goldberg. I think it may be Adam Goldberg. But he's recognizable, definitely. He's not credited here on the box, but he's good in it. Amanda Plummer also. It's like, wow, they've got Amanda Plummer to do this. She's good in it. But I think, the one, and this is like probably before he was really big, obviously, was Viggo Mortensen. And Viggo Mortensen shows up at the end, plays Lucifer, plays the devil, and just nails it. One of the best Viggo Mortensen performances, of his career. So this kind of alone is just, if you're a Viggo Mortensen fan, you've got to check it out just for his scenes. And he's not in it much. He has like a monologue and one other scene where he just is there and gone. But man, he's amazing in this film. Really leaves an impression, and he kind of steals the show from Walken, at the last minute, which I guess Lucifer should, he should steal the show from Gabriel. He's just great. He's just great. It just gives me shivers, how good he is in this movie. And he's just got some amazing things to say. He talks like Lucifer, if you can imagine that. I don't really know what else to say. I just really like to watch it. And I'm glad I watched it. Maybe it was a little slow. I haven't watched it in some time. I haven't watched it maybe in as many as 6 or 7 years. It seems like it's been a while. Maybe as much as 8 years since I've watched this film. But, in high school, 1996, I watched this film a lot. I had the VHS. Again, I loved this movie when I was 16 years old. I'd watch it a lot. So I will always enjoy watching it. But yes, as I grow older, I'm a little pickier, and it's doesn't have the joy that it once did. But now I appreciate it at other levels, and still. I still get that, nostalgic feel, so I'll always enjoy it. But I still think it's a solid 7. I don't think I could give it an 8 just because, again, there's some cheese. There's some definite cheese. And it's a little slow. It's a little, flashes back in between tone. We basically kind of follow 2 people in the movie. And then towards the end, 3 people. We follow the detective, Elias Koteas. And as long as the movie is about him, I really like it. I think his portion of the film is excellent and by far the best story-wise part of the film. He does the detective work. He gets into the mythology. So I always enjoy when it's a detective story, when he's trying to figure out this memory. And we also follow Christopher Walken as he's hunting down this soul and other angels and whatnot. And obviously he's Walken, but that's when you're just, he's doing something weird, or he's having a fight scene, so it's just like kind of obligatory. And it definitely kind of, goes back from, in tone, it alters somewhat greatly, and I found myself a little bored. I was a little bored watching the film. It's about only 90 minutes long, a little over 90 minutes, and it did drag a little bit there in the second act, but it's okay. Really, that's all I can think about is why I wouldn't give it higher than a 7. And that's even with my emotional involvement, as I'll give it a 7. I could maybe give it an 8. Even when I say, yeah, the prophecy's an 8, I don't mind it that much. It doesn't feel that bad. But, being realistic, I'll say a 7, But the acting is tremendous, and all the actors are great in it. It's just got a great cast. So maybe I will give it an 8, screw it. I definitely recommend it. I was kind of, didn't really look at it this way, but I saw a lot of precursors to The Matrix. I kind of thought that perhaps the Wachowski brothers, watch this, somewhat maybe, and I don't know. I just saw a lot of similarities with The Matrix, probably just in terms of style and cinematography, but I thought, wow, I could really see some of The Matrix in this film. So perhaps the Wachowskis were influenced by this film somewhat. It's just a really good mid-90s movie, I think. I just really enjoyed watching it. So I think I'm kind of repeating myself here. I think I can wrap it up. So there you go. There's Gregory Wyden's The Prophecy, starring the immortal Christopher Walken. You know what? I'll give it an 8. It's an 8 from the heart. So check it out. I definitely, if you're a Christopher Walken fan, Viggo Mortensen fan, just, fans of films about religion, it definitely plays on your innate fears here of, since we're basically all raised with religion, it really plays on fears that we can't help but have. So that's, entertaining. Again, there's a lot to think about the film. You can take away something, discuss it, and you've got some great stylized character actor performances throughout the entire thing. So there you go. There's The Prophecy, and I'll give it an 8 straight from the heart. Thanks much.